So it is my 1 year anniversary as a business owner. I launched my coaching business, Never Stop Growing Coaching and Consulting, last year in 2020. And today makes a year. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported my journey in some kind of way. And just also share some things that I have learned along the way starting out new. And I'm calling this video Lessons and Gratitudes because honestly, that's what this is for me. So, as a transformational life coach, the thing that made me want to start off, kick into owning my own coaching business and letting that be the focus was because as as a coach working in the corporate field, I I felt restricted. I felt restricted on the kind of things that I could support people around. And even though I was operating, or am because I'm still there, even though I operate my own teams and we have different projects that we're responding to, I still felt like I wasn't able to connect with people in the way that I wanted to. And I know that one of the biggest things that I care a lot about is ensuring that we all reach, or as many people as I can touch, so to speak, reach a place where you feel happy and fulfilled with yourself. And so in comes the growth journey. We're all on some kind of journey to try to grow and understand ourselves better, and yet how we do it varies so differently, and it determines the success. And the thing that I've learned taking my own journey is that if you try to emulate someone else, you may find that it's harder for you to be successful because that's not your path. And so it's a journey even to learning how to hear yourself, so that way you can ensure that you're on the right healing path and that you're working on the right things and that you're working on them in the way that's best serving you. And how can I say right? Some people may wonder. Well, it's not that there is some magic pill that says what your right is. It is reflective of what you pick up inside of you. It's how you dig for the answers that are inside of you. And so if you find yourself trying to do something time and time again, and yet you keep running into like this proverbial brick wall, it's because you're probably fighting where you're supposed to go, where your lesson is supposed to take you. Or you're probably operating in a space that's not genuine to you. Either way, you're off your path. And so in this first year as a business owner, why this is so important for me to share as I talk about this, as I share this video, is because after all the work that I've done internally to help my own growth process, once I launched my business and I started working with clients through their challenges around growth and helping them to identify their unique growth paths, I then learned for myself that there was a deeper thing that I needed to work on within me. And it was around the belief that it was around my self-worth. And that lesson became so evident to me in my first year of owning my own practice. And I didn't even think that it was a lesson that I needed to learn, because I'm like, well, I feel like I've done a lot of work, which is why I'm here today running this life coaching practice. And yet being a first year business owner, it taught me I still had stuff that I needed to work on in order to continue to flourish and so forth. And one of the biggest lessons was around my belief in success, in my own success. And what do I mean by that? So I learned that I know how to flourish and thrive in someone else's business, in someone else's practice. I know I can lead and manage very well. What I didn't know, and I learned through my first year as an entrepreneur, is that I didn't believe that without the template already set, that I could do it myself. And it may sound crazy because I took a chance and I stepped out there and I was doing it, but it's a difference. I didn't believe it. I took a shot, but I didn't believe it. And in this first year, that was constantly brought to the forefront until I actually decided, hey, I'm going to work on this. I denied it when I first would see it come up. It would be in these little subtle things. It would, when I was speaking with my first couple of clients and hearing their feedback at the end of the session about how helpful it was because it helped them to see what was right in front of their faces in a whole different way. And the shock that I would feel in thinking, wow, I may actually be able to make a lifestyle out of this. And then having to check myself and say, well, why the hell would that even be a question? And I kept ignoring it. I ignored it for a couple of months until finally I said, I need to figure out what in me still doubts myself. And it went back to my worth. And with all the work that I felt like I had done, I'm like, here's another layer. And so in discovering that part about myself, I was able to then expand even the way that I was hearing clients, in that when certain challenges would come up, it's like you may have felt like you've learned a lesson in that area and you've grown. I think there's levels to things. Like the song, like there's levels to this shit. Like there's levels to growth. You may reach a certain area where you see yourself in a more positive manner, and then you're placed into a new environment because now you have more belief and trust in your abilities. And when you get into that new environment, you're like a fish out of water. The reason why you feel like a fish out of water is because there is a part of you that feels like you don't belong. And that part of you that feels like you don't belong is your worth and the value that you place on your ability to thrive in new environments. And so when you actually start doing more work and digging, you realize that there's some strengthening that needs to be done to that muscle. Because if we're going to continue to climb in our growth and in our healing, we are going to be faced with new challenges on higher levels all the time. And so I share this to say that if you think that your growth is going to be a one and done, it's not. And yet it's still so worth it because you're never on the same level where you left off. So every new lesson you learn, it elevates you. Every new piece of self-discovery that you make, it elevates you. And so this year helped me to see just how true this was. And it helped me to be able to help others to realize that within themselves. And not just because I'm telling you it, but to really help clients find those examples of where they thought they had never overcome a particular challenge in a certain area, but yet there's some kind of evidence in their past that they had. And if for nothing else, the fact that you're willing to explore it now is a victory unto itself, because it's been around plaguing you for so long and you didn't address it. And so I share on my 1 year anniversary of my coaching business this tip with you to give you hope, to keep it real and to give you hope. The journey is a journey for a reason, and yet it's such a beautiful one. So stick with it, stay the course, believe in yourself, believe in the things that you're feeling naturally called to do, and start to become curious about it. Start to become curious about the things that you like, the things that you're constantly called or you feel like you're pulled to do or to see. And then start to examine how you'll be able to get it done. Because in examining that, I assure you there'll be some lessons for you in that. And once you learn those lessons, you elevate yourself. So continue to thrive and continue to grow and continue to elevate yourself. And like the mantra says, Never stop growing, people. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to celebrate the last couple of hours of my 1-year anniversary and my growth journey. And I hope to speak with and partner with you guys soon. Never stop growing, people. Bye.